Sean Strickland is the new UFC champion. What the hell? What in the hell? Did you guys see this? Did you guys see this coming? Comment below if you really thought Sean Strickland was going to be the next UFC champion. I had no idea. I had no idea Sean was going to be so disciplined. I had no idea he was going to be so careful and cautious and responsible defensively. I had no idea he was going to stick to the fundamentals. I had no idea he had improved as much as he had. I had absolutely no idea. I thought he was going to come out the same Sean he always has. He hasn't given us a reason that he's going to come out any different. That knockout to Alex Pereira must have probably been the best thing to ever happen to him. And then him going and training with Alex Pereira and learning from him as much as he could, well, also must have been one of the best things for him. And apparently he learned a lot. And that showed in the night of the fight because he looked he looked phenomenal. He looked great. I mean, his style is always a little unorthodox and weird and difficult to get on board with, but he made it work. He prepared for Israel correctly. He was checking all the leg kicks. He was sticking with the 1-2. His pressure was incessant. It was inexorable. It was nonstop. Anytime Israel tried to come in, he'd hit him with that little teep, which was it was so simple and it just worked so well. I mean, it's so crazy to think that Sean Strickland outstruck Israel Adesanya with a 1-2 and a teep kick. That's it. With the 1-2 and a teep kick, he outstruck one of the best kickboxers to ever live and the best middleweight champion of all time. I don't care what anyone says. Israel is the best middleweight champion of all time. The level of competition nowadays between when Anderson Silva, who's going to be the other argument most people are going to include when it comes to deciphering who's the best middleweight champion of all time, the level of skill Anderson Silva fought was nowhere near the level of skill that Israel Adesanya has fought and dominated. Also Israel beat Anderson when Anderson was still, I would say pretty much in his prime and fighting the way that he's always fought. Israel Adesanya is the best middleweight of all time. I don't think there's any. I mean, if you really don't think so, I think you should go look and compare records between him and Anderson and go do your research and really look at the credentials and the level of skill and competition that they both fought. Israel has fought a much higher level of competition, and that's pretty incontrovertible. So I would say easily Israel Adesanya is the best middleweight of all time. And to think the best middleweight of all time got beat with just the basic fundamentals from Sean Strickland, the guy no one thought would win, the guy who after one of his recent fights said, one of the fights that put him on the map, I forget exactly who he beat. He said, if it wasn't for this stuff, I'd be selling cocaine and cooking. I'd be cooking meth in a trailer, and then I'd be on my way to prison or something like that. The dude who says the wildest stuff that also has a lot of truth to it, oftentimes, which makes him a very likable character. Who would have thought this guy, Redneck Strickland, was going to be the next UFC champion and was going to destroy? I'm pretty sure he beat Izzy 4-1. I'm pretty sure he beat Izzy 4-1. Who would have thought that he was really going to be the next UFC champion and was going to dominate the current best of all time? I didn't. I sure as hell did not, but man, did he look good. I really think Izzy underestimated him. I really think Izzy just thought he was going to go in there and just come in with a counter-punching plan and was just going to, that Strickland was some point going to do kind of what Alex Pereira did, was just going to sit there in front of him, not manage distance well, and allow him the perfect shot. And he didn't. He managed the distance with and came forward with very, very intelligent, precise pressure that was incessant throughout the entire fight, which never gave Izzy the proper opportunity to be able to counter or set anything up. He damaged him whenever he got in range. He gave him something to worry about whenever Israel came forward. Whenever he pushed him back, he gave him something to worry about. It was very, very intelligent pressure. It was a very intelligent fight. Everything he did was very, very conscientious and overall just, quite intelligent. And, he literally just smoked the world champion. Beating him like that is honestly more impressive than when Alex Pereira beat Israel Adesanya in their fight in the UFC. Because Pereira was getting his ass kicked. He was getting his ass handed to him for the most part. He did win a couple rounds, and he did have some success against Izzy, specifically with the leg kicks. But for the most part, he was getting beat. And that fight was, on its way to being a pretty one-sided victory for Israel Adesanya. And yeah, I mean, to school Israel Adesanya like this is a huge victory. No one has been able to do that except for Sean Strickland. And it's going to be very interesting to see who Sean's going to be fighting next. I do not believe Israel Adesanya deserves an immediate rematch. I think the fight was, I think it was 4-1. I think Sean won 4. I think Izzy won 1. I do not think that's deserving of an immediate rematch. I think you have to be a little bit crazy to think that. I think that's unfair to everyone else in the middleweight division. Dricus should be up next. Dricus, maybe Cannonier, Whitaker, they're all deserving. So it's going to be interesting to see who Strickland fights next. But I got to say, what a masterful game plan from Strickland. And I did say in my prediction video, I said he's got to come forward with incessant pressure, and he's got to. I was wrong about this. I said he has to make it dirty, he has to make it wild. I was wrong. He didn't have to make it dirty. He just had to stick to the fundamentals. That's all he did. And he gave Izzy so much trouble. Izzy has some real holes in his striking that no one has really been able to exploit yet, because you have to be very defensively disciplined and very offensively dangerous, and a lot of guys don't have the two of them. Pereira is very offensively dangerous, has no defense. Whitaker, very single-minded and just singular in general in terms of his offense, and his defense definitely can use some work. Jared Cannonier doesn't have creative of enough offense or intelligent enough to be able to exploit Izzy, and does get hit quite a bit. Everyone else hasn't had adequate offense and adequate defense to be able to deal with Israel Adesanya, but Sean Strickland did, and he smoked him. Who would have thought? Well, congrats to Sean Strickland, the new UFC champion of the middleweight division. Can't wait to see what's next, and hang on to your seat, because this is going to be a fun ride. I hope Sean stays champion for a while, because I think it's going to be hilarious. I think it's going to be interesting. I think he could be a great champion. I think he could represent the people. He has that relatability to him, and he's funny. He says things, like men are pussies nowadays, and women are far too masculinized. We need women back in the kitchen. We need men back in the workforce. He says things like this that are very true, and he has an aura of likability to him. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this goes, and to see if he can hang on to that belt, for as long as he can. So it'll be very interesting. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think. Did you think Sean was going to win? Did you think Izzy was going to win? Were you surprised? Let me know in the comments below. My name's Angelo. This is The Art of Violence, and until next time.
Down, like shorty, what it do? Got a bad bitch on me, I'ma leave with you. If I walk up in the party, motherfuckers better move. If a motherfucker try me, I'ma put him on the news. Goddamn, I don't want no fucking bitch. 'Cause I came in the club, ayy, watch